would like to call the December 18th meeting of the Springfield Local School District to order. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Collins.
Here.
Mr. Hess.
Here.
Mr. Dinkins.
Here.
Mr. Hofer.
Here.
Mrs. Dodson.
Here.
We'd like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll take the final at the end.
We'll do it right now if you like. You want to say it or you want to?
You go.
Okay. At this point, we'd like to have a moment of silence for all of the folks that were affected by the tragedy in Newtown, Connecticut late last week. Thank you. My thoughts and prayers certainly go out to them.
Okay. Number 4, the presentation, Race to the Top presentation. Ann Phillips, welcome.
Almost vacation. Just going to give you a quick summary of a couple things that are going on. You have 3 handouts in front of you. One's a brochure, and I'll make sure newspaper can get these. One's a brochure and then 2 other handouts. Race to the Top goes with the bottom 2. The top one, I just thought I'd throw that in there kind of FYI so you kind of know what's going on. At Spring Hill Junior High, they received a grant from the Ohio Department of Education in order to look into some additional interventions, especially with our special ed students. And one of the things that we're looking at is this program called Project More. It is a program that's been around in Ohio for several years. It is targeted for students with special needs as well as regular ed, but especially those with special needs. And it's a one-on-one reading program. It's designed to be volunteer-based, and you have volunteers that you train and bring in. Because we have such a short time to implement the grant, we are going to use some of the grant funds to actually hire parapros. So someone who has at least a 2-year college associate degree, or they take the state parapro test, and then they will be implementing this. So it's for you to look at when you get a chance, but it is a one-on-one, and we're looking to service about 25 students in our special ed program through this in order to help with the reading needs that they may have. A lot of times our programs like Title I and other things target our regular ed population, and then we don't have that extra layer for special ed students. So this is giving us a chance to do that. And it's called Project More. They have a very nice website, and then this gives you the details of how that program is going to run. Everything that we get, we pay about $600 total. We get everything to make the books and all of those things. So it's through readingtutor.com or .org. So it's a very good program, and we're looking forward to it. The second 2 things that I wanted to talk to you about, this is a Race to the Top initiative. It's also a requirement by the Ohio Department of Education. We just get extra funds to help implement it. Several years ago, everyone in the state of Ohio that was a certified teacher, principal, superintendent, received this book, and it has our standards in it for our part of the profession. So there's teaching standards, superintendent standards, and so on. So in this book, I've pulled out what the 7 standards are for you. It's the second sheet of the black and white handout. So it looks like a dark ribbon. I put the copier on the lightest it would go, but it still picked up dark. The second sheet has the 7 standards, and then they have bullet points underneath. And if you flip back to your first page, what they do is students who are doing their student teaching are in that first column called emerging, and it's how they're expected to implement those 7 standards. Once they graduate and they come to us as first-year teachers or second-year teachers, we call them resident educators, they work in that developing column, again on those same 7 standards. By the time they're 3rd year, their second and third year, they should be in that proficient column. And so they have mentors that help them get there. This is much different than what we used to have a mentor entry year program. It used to be like a 1 year, now it's a 4 year. So just wanted you to know that that was going on and how that works. And then the last handout that you have, this is brand new. The state of Ohio just rolled this out just within the last month or so. It's called either the RESA or the RESA. We're not sure what they're going to call it. It's the Resident Educator Summative Assessment. In the third year of a new teacher's career, they literally will collect a portfolio of videotape clippings, lesson plans, all kinds of things that are required. And you can kind of see some of the things on the side there. And they will have to submit this in order to get to that next level of being proficient and then be eligible for their first 5-year license. So it's brand new, and Raise to the Top money helps us support that with some extra kinds of things we do with our new teachers. So I wanted to let you know what was going on. This is not scored locally. They actually send it out, and we don't know if it's going to go to a company or if it's ODE specific with a group of people, but it's based on everything that's in this 2-page paper for our new teachers. So it's one of the components of Raise to the Top, and just giving you a little highlight of the newest things. Any questions?
So you said they might be getting filmed, the new teachers
Yes.
and things like that. So
Yes.
so we at the local level are simply providing that piece of the puzzle, and then we then send it off to an outside agency then.
Right.
And they will score the teachers.
Right.
So then what will we have as far as tools go, as far as assessing our teachers, our new teachers? Will there still be pieces and parts that we will still be part of?
They right now, even their first year, they use the exact same evaluation as we do with our other teachers. So that part's the same. We all started out as teachers in this category. We just didn't get this much support,
Right.
and we didn't have to submit a portfolio. Their portfolio will kind of show their understanding and implementation of those 7 standards. So what the state's saying is that's really all of us should be to that level once we're in the classroom. They are saying we want you to prove that, and then we give them support where we help them through each part of that over that 3-year period so that they just get more and more proficient to carry out to be the most effective teachers they can.
This is kind of like in addition to what we do at
Correct.
local
Yes,
level.
it is in addition
It's
to.
It's an addition to the yearly evaluation that the principal will do on them.
Okay.
And it's independent of that evaluation
Right.
in every way.
Right, okay.
Do you ever
Good question.
foresee a circumstance where we really like something a teacher is doing, but maybe the people that are grading this portfolio don't like it, and
It could be, because it could just be like how they worded it as opposed to whatever. What they're suggesting is you're a resident educator for 4 years. They're saying that they're going to submit this their 3rd year. So if there's one component that maybe isn't right to the level they expect, we actually can resubmit those portions before the end of their 4th year. So they've kind of put that in there for those exact reasons, to help support them. Because sometimes it just might be that kind of thing.
or maybe
So-
teachers doing something that's so out of the box that we love, but maybe they're not getting, or
Right.
they're, I don't know,
And
something
what
like
we understand is, I mean, you can still keep a teacher with a 4-year license if they don't go to 5. That doesn't mean, they still have time to kind of transition to that 5. So they're asking us to do a lot more support locally, and they're asking them probably to be more methodical in how they learn and implement to become as highly effective as they can. As the teachers come to us after probably next year, they will have already gone through this in their student teaching, a mini form of putting together a portfolio to get their first license. So right now, these people never had that experience, so we're trying to, best support as we can because it's so new. But our new teachers will have already done some type of assessment like that. They still are going to keep the praxis test for the content. So they still have to know their content to a certain level. This is about the art and science of teaching, this part of it.
I just share, it's kind of a little bit off the
Sure.
subject, but I heard a radio story I loved. Some college professors are doing a new way of teaching whereby they actually film their lectures, and those are available online, and the students watch the lectures out of class, and then when they're in class they work on the homework. So it's completely
It's
inverted.
flipping the class, right? And I think we do that. We have a few classes here that are doing that.
There are some
That's
high
great.
schools that do
Some
that
of our
now.
some of our courses here. Do you know which ones specifically?
I know, like Michelle King with math is sort of doing a hybrid flip model where the lessons are filmed or recorded and available to students. I don't know if anybody's doing a full flip
Full flip, we're just
classroom,
kind of
but
getting
they're
into it.
migrating toward that.
And I think they're finding that that is becoming more and more effective.
I love it. It makes total sense
Because
to
you
me.
get that support after you do that.
Yep.
So hopefully with technology, we can even see more of that. I know our high school's looking at that.
I think we'll
Good,
let you
thank
get
you
more
for
done.
sharing.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could watch your lesson at home in your
Right.
leisure, and then
And then come in with your questions and get support.
work
Right.
on problems.
Yeah.
You can ask, you get more time to ask questions about problems, how the
Mhm.
problems are done, or even if you're going into another, whether it's science or what have you,
Right.
there's more time for that.
And sometimes I think like math and some of the others, they're so technical, there is no support at home. So it kind of makes sense to get that support in the classroom after I've got the learning part on my own.
Not only do the students learn, but we're learning things different too, aren't we?
Yes.
Now, are all schools in the race to the top? They're not, are they?
No.
And are they not?
Everybody in the
is-
state of Ohio is bound by the same thing. This
Okay.
is not just race to the top. It's just that we have extra dollars
I see.
in order to support our teachers.
Okay.
So like we can provide additional staff development and support. But
Okay.
everybody has to do it.
Going back to Project More just for a second, this is our effort to close the achievement gap between where special ed kids are achieving and where regular ed kids are achieving. We're trying to close that gap. That's where we've been getting dinged by the state on our state report card at Spring Hill. Project More is a program that they actually used in my wife's elementary school for
Oh.
years, and it worked quite well with the little ones. So I'm curious as to how it's going to work at Spring Hill, and I think it's going to be very effective.
And just to kind of give you our forward thinking, we are piloting just 6 students special ed at Roosevelt and Young to just see how it would work with the young ones. But one of the things that we thought about, because it is a volunteer kind of thing, and they're saying students can be very effective because it's very scripted and with the training, that maybe once it's a 7-12 building, let's say if there's somebody who's willing to be a volunteer to a younger student at the high school, and if they give up 4 days of their study hall and do 1 student, then we can have some of that going on. So we thought that might be a way of sustaining it when we don't have funds to help support that. And they do that in a lot of schools. I don't know, probably not with your young ones, but
Yeah, they didn't, it was parent volunteers
parent
at River
volunteers.
Elementary.
Yeah, and we hope to grow it that way. So
Yep.
thank you for sharing that.
Very good.
Is this, when you're talking about this, was this like Ohio Reads?
It's much more detailed than that. It has very specific things that you do with the students that it's just more involved and more detailed, and it's research based.
Okay.
So I think Ohio Reads, while we knew fluency and having kids read more was research based, it didn't really have techniques, so to speak. Or this has some specific strategies and things that you do every single time. There always is too. Somebody who is a certified educator that oversees the movement of the kids through the levels and those kind of things. So we will be involving a tutor or a special ed teacher helping oversee the movement of them. So it's just a little more involved. Anything
Thanks,
else?
Ann.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, item number 5, approval of minutes. It is recommended that the board approve the minutes of the regular meeting, October 16th, 2012, and regular meeting of November 20th, 2012. Exhibit 1 and 1A.
So moved.
Wait a second.
Second?
Roll call?
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
I think I have to abstain.
Mr. Dinkins?
Abstain?
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Well, I should abstain, but I was there for half of them, so I'll say yes, so we can pass it.
Okay, motion carried.
That's why the one was on again this month. Thank you.
Oh,
Yes, thank you. All right, item number 6, citizens' comments on agenda items. Citizens' comments are welcome at this time on agenda items. Seeing none? We'll go to number 7, payment of bills. It is recommended that the board approve payment of bills for the month of November pending audit as Exhibit 2.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mrs. Collins?
Yes. Motion carried. Item number 8, acceptance of financial reports. It is recommended that the board accept the financial reports from the treasurer for November 2012.
So move.
Second.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Neil, who?
Neil and Bobby.
Neil and Bobby.
Roll call?
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Motion carried. Item number 9, it is recommend personnel. It is recommended that the board accept and approve the following personnel items. 9.1, substitute bus drivers, monitors, employ the following as substitute bus drivers and/or monitors per the negotiated agreement, pending proper licensure, Rachel Frame, Karen Carper. Item 9.2, volunteer coach, approve Andrew Hofer as a volunteer wrestling coach pending proper licensure. 9.3, classified substitute, employ Regina Goldinger as a classified substitute per the negotiated agreement pending proper licensure effective the first day assigned. 9.4, Roosevelt Cafeteria, employ Jamie Keller as a 2-hour cafeteria employee at Roosevelt Elementary per the negotiated agreement pending proper licensure effective December 12, 2012. 9.5, FMLA leave, approve FMLA leave for teacher Beth Burgess beginning approximately April 22nd, 2013 through the 2012-13 school year. 9.6, bus driver, employ Ralph McCulley as a bus driver per the negotiated agreement pending proper licensure effective December 14th, 2012. Mentor teachers, 9.7, employ the following as mentor teachers for the 2012-13 school year: Dawn Henry, Christy Hubert, Michelle Hanna, Kelly Weiss, Rob Lane, Brett Zimmerman, and Dina Scrimo. 9.8, LPDC committee, approve the following to receive $300 for serving as LPDC committee members for the 2012-13 school year: Bill Burkett, Laura Lash, Ann Phillips, Melinda Weekland, Jenny Ganser. Item 9.9, staff development. Approve the following to receive $20 per hour or a maximum of $100 per day for developing and/or conducting curriculum and/or staff development outside the school day during the 2012-13 school year to be paid from grant funds: Dustin Boswell, Becky Berthoff, Laura Hancock, Lisa Stout, Brett Zimmerman, Stacy Manzo, Heather Phillips, Belinda Weekland, Mary Meadows, Michelle Warner, Becky Huber, Tracy Murphy, Heather Phillips, Tamara Justice, and Dawn Landon.
So moved.
Second.
Could we pull out 9.2?
Vote on that separately, yeah.
Yes, please.
Because Dave would need to abstain.
Okay?
Let's go up to 9.2.
I'm sorry about that, I should have caught that earlier.
It's all
I
right.
thought of that as we went through.
Let's,
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
Neil.
well, no.
Let's-
We're gonna vote on 9.2, and then we'll vote on all the rest.
Okay.
We'll do
Okay.
9.2 separate,
Mhm.
okay? So let's do 9.2 right now,
Okay.
okay?
Okay,
We need
so,
a motion for 9.2, and then we'll do the motion for 9.1 and 9.3 through,
9.9.
right,
Okay.
I will motion 9.1,
2.
or 9.2. Yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call?
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Abstain.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion carried, and then 9.1,
And
9.3
9.3,
through 9.9.
yep.
So moved.
Second.
Let me get there.
You're ahead of me. Mr. Hofer,
Yes.
Bobby was
And
second.
Neil.
Neil, okay.
Okay. Okay,
Ready?
yep.
Roll call?
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Motion carried. Item number 10, 2013-14 school calendar. It is recommended that the board approve the 2013-14 school calendar as it appears in Exhibit 3. Any questions? We'll need a motion first.
So moved.
Second?
Yeah, the after Labor Day start this year was necessitated by the school construction that we have going on. Even though the building is scheduled to be finished, I think it's August the 8th is the finish date, we still have several weeks of moving to go on. We're gonna have lots of stuff to move back in there. So to give ourselves a little wiggle room, we wanted to start after Labor Day this year in case there are any delays. We sent 2 calendars to the teachers union. They voted, the only difference is they were both after Labor Day starts. One of them had a spring break and the other one did not have a spring break. They voted for the option without a spring break.
So the big change is next school year, we start after Labor Day. Kids would start the Wednesday after Labor Day. So that'd be the first day for kids, and then no spring break. Those are the 2 major changes to the schedule.
Correct. And it's all necessitated by our building project.
Right.
Okay. Roll call?
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Motion carried. Item 11, appointment of the board committee. It is recommended that the board appoint members to the Portage Lakes JVS Board of Education for 2013. We needed 3 names, and I would like to put 3 names out there. That would be Neil Hess, Mary Lou Dodson, and Dave Hofer. Won't allow you to put them in the line?
That's all right,
Okay.
I've got it for you. If you need
Okay.
it.
So we need a motion for
We
that?
need a motion.
I will make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call?
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
And I'll get those names to Mr. Moore at Portage Lakes to let him know who the board members will be. And the first board meeting, I believe, is January 15th there. So when we get to the end of the meeting, we'll have to talk about when our first meeting is going to be in January.
And the
also.
reason we have 3 coming up for next school year?
It's a rotating basis,
Right.
and this is our year for 3.
Right.
Ours will
Okay.
have to be before January 15th.
When we hold the presidency at Springfield, that's when we have 3 members on the board over there.
Okay.
Okay. You said what?
I think by law you have to have it before the 15th.
Yes, you do.
Mhm.
Well, the
15th
15th.
is okay.
15th is okay.
But
Right.
we're going to run into a conflict at Portage Lakes. Although Mr. Moore said they could have it any time of day, that may not be convenient for you folks who work there. So we can pick a different day.
We can move ours up like we did last year.
Sure.
on it.
Right.
Good.
I don't see no problem,
We moved it up.
Mhm.
just so it's not on the 11th.
Yeah.
That's on a Friday.
When we get to the end of the meeting, we'll figure that out.
Okay. Item number 12, special education transportation. It is recommended that the board deem transportation for DeAndre Andrus and Brandon Lindsay to be unreasonable, uneconomical, and impractical under present conditions.
So move.
Second?
Roll call?
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Motion carried. Item number 13, field trip request. It is recommended that the board approve a one-day field trip for the 7th and 8th grade band and chaperones to travel to Kennywood, PA, for an adjudicated performance and to visit Kennywood Park. The date of the trip is Saturday, May 11, 2013. No school days will be missed, as in Exhibit 4.
And there's also no cost to the board on this.
Oh,
Nice.
it's all fundraising?
Correct.
So moved.
Second.
Can I ask,
Not that that's an issue, but that it's good for instruction, it's good for
It is.
Good
students to,
trip, especially junior high level.
and to compete, you know, and to the etiquette of competition.
Mr. Hess, question?
I might be showing my musical ignorance, but what is an adjudicated performance?
I think it's a contest where you're judged.
Okay. Item number 14.
We got to vote.
We gotta
on
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry. Roll call.
Mrs. Dodson.
Yes.
Mrs. Collins.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins.
Yes.
Mr. Hofer.
Yes.
Motion carried. Item number 14, acceptance of donations. It is recommended that the board accept $300 in donations from MKC Associates Incorporated and Regency Construction Services Incorporated for the Soapbox Derby Gravity Racing Challenge.
So moved.
Second?
We certainly want to thank MKC and Regency for their generous donations. And we'll have Mr. Geis's class will be participating, racing a car in the challenge. And we may yet have a car racing out of the junior high yet, too. Not sure yet about that one, but we'll definitely have one from the high school.
It's good to see things
Yeah.
are.
Bobby, thanks for making us aware
Yeah.
of that
Definitely.
activity and that
It's going to be a nice program.
Yeah, a lot of engineering and math in that.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Got a vote.
Roll call.
Mr. Dinkins.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mrs. Collins.
Yes.
Mr. Hofer.
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Item number 15, approval of new revised and replacement policies. It is recommended that the board approve the following new revised and replacement policies. I will not read them. This is the third time we're seeing them?
Second.
Second.
Second time.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Any question?
These are always kept up with Neola, right? Northeast
Right,
Ohio.
Neola uses
Yeah.
attorneys to vet these policies to make sure that they conform with state law, and that's what changes most of our policies are state law. If you notice, most of them are revised policies. We already have policies on almost all of these. It's, the new laws just change them slightly.
On a percentage basis, then most all of them then are result of state, changes in state and federal law?
Right. Mhm. And you think about the educational laws that came through that changed third grade reading guaranteed, that's in here.
Yeah, there was a lot of.
Typically, it's state law. that
A
has
lot of
changed things.
paperwork on that.
Yeah.
on that
School
third grade.
calendar from days to hours.
That'll be coming, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that'll be coming.
All right. Roll call.
Mrs. Collins.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins.
Yes.
Mr. Hofer.
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Item number 16, treasurer's report. Chris?
It's a pain getting old.
It's not for sissies.
All right, we are 5 months down. I think I've been here about 27 months, and I think I say this every single month. We are tracking as expected, which is a good thing, considering if you look at your first page in your revenues, we're down 5% from last year. That might get a little better. I've talked to the county auditor this week. Kind of surprising, our valuations went up this year. And we got a lot of new construction based on historical numbers. So, and new construction sometimes takes up to 2 years. So sanitarium road development, that's all kicking in. That's, our new construction was in the millions. It wasn't 10 million, but it was close, which is a very good sign for Springfield Township and the village of Lakemore. So my estimate for February, March, and April could change, and I'm hoping it goes up for real estate collections. But our bottom line is still tracking as expected. Another line, we're losing our ed jobs, all this SFSF funding, which causes our funding to go down. But our expenditures are holding as originally budgeted. So we're doing a fine job. Healthcare's kind of leveled off a little bit. We saw the savings a couple years ago. So now what we're seeing, the increases that we're seeing is just the cost of doing business with healthcare. Even on a good year, if you keep it under double digits, you're doing good on healthcare, and we are. We're trying to do better with the programs in place, and again, having our fine employees manage their healthcare a little better than we've done in the past, and that's helping us out too. What we're doing now is, I always try to look for projects, and the biggest thing that really disturbs all treasurers in the state of Ohio with public education is the amount of money that we're losing to charter schools and other type programs. And I don't think anybody has a problem giving money to an excellent rated charter schools. It's just that the vast majority of the charter schools are not excellent rating. They're actually on the opposite side of the spectrum. So we're going to actually take a hard look at our children, because we're losing $750,000 a year. Springfield Local Schools is actually taking, think of it this way, $750,000 comes out of our wallet into a charter school's wallet. And for profit. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to, this isn't going to happen right away, but we have a new program that we're instituting here at Springfield. And if we can get some of these kids to come back, because once they come back here, that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to come back in the traditional way, but if we can offer our own charter school, but they can do things that they can't do. They can walk the stage, they can do extracurricular, they could do other things and feel more a part. And that benefits the children, and it'll benefit the district financially. So it's really a win-win for Springfield. So I've been to a lot of meetings in Columbus, and in the last couple years, it's always let's fight, and I'm of a different opinion. You're not going to fight this trend that we're seeing in public education. I mean, every year, I think we're closing in on $1 billion in the state of Ohio that's transferring from public to charter, and it goes up every year. So it's like, obviously, we're losing the war. So if you can't beat them, you kind of have to embrace it. Times have changed. Not all children go to school in a traditional way. So that's a project that I'm really interested in looking at, and that will only help our financial stability in this district. So I'll keep you posted on how that's going. Any questions?
At this point.
Commercial property tax still trending down, the revenues, commercial?
We're still getting challenges. I'm not going to get my report until in about a couple of weeks. On the valuation, I think we might actually increase our valuation in commercial, but they're challenging. We have a lawyer on retainer. That's all that we do. It's slowing down. I think the word gets out that we aggressively challenge these valuations, because a lot of times the valuations that are requested are not the same as if these people would sell that business, and that's when we win. But you have to fight it, and to fight it costs you money. So, but the fact that our valuations as a total went up this year versus last year is a good sign. It's a great sign.
Yep.
And we still have a lot of room out there to grow in this township. If you drive around, it's a very desirable, very economical place, location, new school, test scores going up. That could all mean when we could really come out of this really, really good. So again, our finances are strong, they're stable for years to come.
Thank you, Chris. Item number 17, business manager's report. Dan?
The food service made $7,000 this month, so that's $37,000 year to date in the black, just kind of on course as last year. I don't see a big increase, a little bit increase, but so they're tracking good. The bus garage on East Waterloo Road, we're still waiting for a county electric inspection. The heaters that we've trenched to the buses are in place, but we can't do the main connection yet. Hoping that the bad weather doesn't set in, but buses have been starting. How many buses, Ryan, aren't plugged in?
Most of them.
We have about,
We've got about 5.5 to do.
okay, 5 are plugged in next to the building, but, you know, we have a fleet of 20 that on a very cold day may not start, so we've dodged some bullets there.
Any idea when the county will be out? Have they indicated?
Exactly.
Deese Electric is on them. He thought they would be there Monday or today. I haven't heard, but he's
It's still in Summit County, isn't it? It's not Portage.
right. It's
Right.
Summit County. So we're hoping to get it done this week. So,
Well, I guess I would suggest to the county that if they want to pay for 15 buses not starting, I would throw it that way.
They really probably don't care.
yeah. Well, I,
Just what it is.
They'd have to answer to somebody.
angry parents. We did take possession of the Maranatha office building that we purchased December 1st. We're doing some painting over there. Some of the carpet needed replaced. We may not get in there till the end of January. We have to get a water analysis, and since it's going to be a public water system, there's paperwork involved. So it kind of looks like our move is going to be towards the end of January. We've been meeting with the abatement, Gandy and Associates, who have supervised the abatement, and Regency on the closing of the high school and moving of the high school, demolition of the high school. June 10th is the last date we'll be allowed on this site, so it's coming up fast. The elementary and Schropp principals have walked the building and tagged some items that they see of value for their buildings. We're discussing other property or equipment in the building to be moved or salvaged, and it's coming on quick. This building will go down mid-May. They will put concrete barriers out to let parents still have access with the students, but they want to have this all graded off so it's a staging area for a bunch of equipment. So before you know it,
Things are gonna change.
change is coming. So, any questions?
The new food payment program's going as expected?
Yeah.
Things are good?
It's good.
Actually, on Doomsday or the beginning of the year with this new national lunch program, everybody thought everybody was gonna lose their shirts, and we actually are making money, and we trained a staff that never had a point-of-sale system onto a point-of-sale system. I think things went very, very well. I mean, anytime the cafeteria doesn't ask money from the general fund, it's a good year.
Yeah,
You said, Dan, what, $37,000 to the good?
In the
To the
black.
good so far.
that's
Very
very
good.
unusual,
Awesome.
isn't it? I
The
mean,
first 3 months go pretty good. December, because of it's half a month, is down, but yeah.
yeah, but we used to
we're-
start with a negative
Yeah,
balance,
we're doing good.
didn't we?
Yeah,
It was always negative until
Negative.
about April or May, I thought,
yeah.
usually.
Yeah,
So-
some years,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a negative.
right,
We
exactly,
had to do that advance. Remember, the
Right.
commission
Right.
wouldn't let us do a transfer, they
Right.
didn't.
yeah.
And that got up to $150,000 at one time, and
Yeah.
that's been pretty much wiped out. And
Yeah,
So,
that's good news.
You know, even with the new building, we're gonna be closing one building eventually, so the cafeterias keep serving larger populations with less people because
Yeah.
of the efficiency.
We have to
So
be
it's-
careful too, that we
That's
have
good.
enough people too.
Yeah,
I mean, you know.
Staff it correctly, absolutely.
so it's only getting better.
And the historical items and preparing for demolition, we've got those identified and are ready to.
We are. We'll have a presentation next month from Dustin regarding the senior class pictures and what we're planning with those electronically. And he showed me a little demonstration, and it's very, very nice what he has. Yeah, we have the historical stuff marked, and we will save that stuff.
Are we going to be able to save that Springfield High School sign on the central building? Do you have
They're
any
gonna-
idea? They're going to
That's one of
try?
the things that they're gonna attempt to save. What we're gonna do with it, I'm not sure, but, yeah, they have a company coming out, that's one of the things they'll try to save. The owl off the, building, that'll be saved and actually incorporated into some outside work, in that courtyard area between the two wings.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you, Dan. All right, item number 18, superintendent's report.
Like I said earlier, our thoughts and prayers certainly go out to those folks in Newtown, Connecticut for their loss. It's just such a terrible tragedy, and I think the governor of Connecticut said it best when he said, evil visited that community last Friday. There's just no other word to describe that as to what went on. What I do want to do is talk about the crisis plans that we have in our district. Every building in our district has a crisis plan that was developed in conjunction with law enforcement. We don't give you details for those crisis plans because we don't necessarily want the bad guys to know what the details of our plans are, but we have, I can assure you, we have plans for every building when we run into situations. But I've instructed administrators, and we had a meeting today, to continue to review those plans with staff, if need be, review them with law enforcement, and tweak them as we need to. And we do that on an annual basis, but this is a great time to reflect on those plans and make sure that they say what we need them to say. We continue to practice lockdown drills in our schools. Every one of our buildings had lockdown drills this fall. Roosevelt Elementary had one probably within the last 2 weeks. We'll continue to practice those lockdown drills. Hopefully, you never need to use one for real, but you never know. So if the situation ever occurs, at least our kids will be prepared and our staff will be prepared. We have buzz-in systems at all of our buildings. The new high school is going to be state-of-the-art for security. There's double doors to get in. There's a buzz-in system with 2 different doors coming in that front door. We have cameras all over that new building. The security will be very, very good. I talked with principals this morning about our ALICE training. Officer McKnight was here in October, I believe, to talk about the new training that we would have going on in case we ever had an intruder that came into the building. Schropp Intermediate School, all staff members are trained in ALICE training. That's already taken place. On February the 15th, our next waiver day, all elementary teachers will be trained by Todd Lovell, a teacher who is trained in ALICE training. All high school and junior high staff will be trained by Officer McKnight on the 15th. The next thing, Schropp students within, I think it's within a week, are going to be trained by Todd Lovell. And it's not going to be in-depth training. They're going to tell the students basically in a 5 or 10 minute presentation. We don't want to scare little kids. That's not our goal at all. And that's why at the elementary schools, we don't want to overemphasize what went on in Newtown, Connecticut. We don't need to scare little kids. We did make counselors available for any student that needed help this week, though. And at the high school, we did have a few kids who needed someone to talk to. Generally, the kids here seem to be doing just fine. We are reassuring students that they are safe in our buildings. I've emphasized to principals and to teachers to make sure that we're not propping doors open, to make sure that doors are locked. Teachers and administrators, like anybody else, we usually want to take the easiest path, and if we don't have a key, it's easy to prop a door open so we can get back in easily. And we see that happen in our schools occasionally, not just here, but all districts. we are emphasizing to keep doors closed and keep them locked. So we're doing everything in our power to keep our students safe. Our students' safety is one of our highest priorities, along with learning, but they are our most precious resource. And we don't want to see anything bad happen to any of our kids. So that's what we're doing with our school safety here. We're on top of things. Other things going on in the district, construction-wise, if you look at the outside of the new building, it's about done. Total construction-wise, we're probably a little over 50% of the way done. It's just finishing off the inside. I did a walkthrough today and it's looking great. Cabinetry is going in. It's looking really, really good. We are planning an open house for the old high school in May. Tentatively, we're probably looking at Saturday, May I think it's 18th. Mrs. Frola, I know, has been working, setting up a dance for anybody who would like to come. I'm also looking at that Saturday, opening the time capsule that's in that central building. And I've been in contact with the group that installed that time capsule, and they are interested in coming back and opening it. So we're looking at tentatively May the 18th, before demolition and before the end of the school. That's a Saturday. Don't have a time for it yet. But hopefully everybody who's interested can come back and walk through the building one last time for some fond memories and enjoy the band that we have and some food, and it should be a nice time.
Obviously, Mrs. Furlow has never seen me dance, otherwise she would not be planning one.
Or myself. Let's see, ribbon cutting for the new school will be mid to late August. We don't have a date for that yet, but we are planning a dedication ceremony for that new building. Like Dan said, the new administration building, painting and carpeting are going on over there, so it'll probably be late January, and I know that you're probably tired of me saying it's going to be an extra month, but it's going to be an extra month, and who knows, we may not be in there till February, but when it's ready, it's ready. So let's plan on having the board meeting right here next month, because we'll still be here, so we might as well just have it right here. Let's see. One of the other things we need to talk about is, when do you want to have that next board meeting? I think we don't want to conflict with Portage Lakes on the 15th, so do we want to move it up a week to
The week before would be the 8th.
Check your calendars. Does that work for everyone?
Yeah.
Does that work for you, Chris, with Mogador?
Yeah, 14th is at Mogador.
Okay.
Tuesday the 8th.
Tuesday the 8th.
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
Does that work for everyone?
I'm good with that.
Good with me.
You got organizational, you got the budget hearing, which is 5 minutes, and then you got your normal board meeting, so.
Yeah, and the regular board meeting obviously will be pretty quick, because there's not going to be a whole lot that goes on between now and the 8th.
Right.
8.
We'll plan on 6 o'clock on the 8th. That's all that I have. Happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas. I can't believe that we're at Christmas already and the school year is almost half over, but in light of everything that went on last Friday in this crazy world that we live in, make sure you give your kids an extra hug. Have a great Christmas.
And your grandkids.
And grandkids.
Yes.
Thank you, Bill. Item number 19, items worthy of your note. December 24th, winter vacation begins. January 7th, classes resume. January 10th, end of the second quarter, first semester. January 11th, Teachers' Records Day, there is no school. January 15th, actually, we're going to go to the 8th. We're going to amend that. Next is January 8th, next regular Board of Education meeting at 6 p.m. right here in this building.
Correct.
And that will include the organizational meeting and the regular meeting. January 21st, Martin Luther King Day, no school.
And there is actually a band concert in the at the high school gym tonight, 7 o'clock. And varsity basketball at Mogador, 7:30.
Okay.
We have something on, we need to appoint a President Pro Tem for January, don't we?
I think you are correct.
Okay.
All right, I'd like to nominate Neil Hess for President Pro Tem for January.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Thanks for remembering me.
Yes, roll call?
Who nominated? Mary Lou?
I
Mary
did.
Lou?
Second was?
Dave Hofer.
Okay.
The old brain does remember some things sometimes.
That's what you did.
Yeah,
That's what you
thinking.
did.
I'm not even gonna touch that one.
Okay, that's good.
Mrs. Collins,
Yes.
Mr. Hess,
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mr. Hofer,
Yes.
Mrs. Dotson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Item number 20, citizens' comments. Yes, sir.
I would just like to say, Mr. Stoffer, I'd like to thank you for your report, your safety presentation. I just wish there were more parents here to hear what you said. You answered all my questions
Oh, well, thank
on
you.
that, in light of everything happened. I just wish there were more parents here.
What's your name? I know you come to our
Greg
board.
Kendall.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate you coming to our meetings.
And the other thing, you mentioned, Dan mentioned the 10th of June will be out of this facility.
This facility right here,
Well,
or the high school?
the high school.
Yeah, the high school will be out of there by the 10th.
So basically, school's done at the end of May, so we get 10 days transition period.
Correct.
Enlighten me on what's going to transpire there. I mean, do you really walk out the door, everything in the high school, the new high school is new, everything in the old high school is gone? Is there any materials, desk, anything?
No, it's all new furniture.
Everything's-
The teaching materials will follow the teacher. Those will be stored over the summer. Basically, everything else goes with demolition. The crew comes in. Part of the demolition price is they do a lot of salvage and scrap. So their bid will be based on what they think they can get out of scrap, what's left in that building. Most of the stuff will stay. Some of the items, and I had a discussion with Kevin Vaughn this afternoon, some of those things in the central gym, the seats, we're possibly looking at selling those to people who would like those as memorabilia, because that's one of the things that we've heard. We've heard that also people might like pieces of the gym floor. We're going to check on that as to whether we're able to cut that up into souvenir pieces and sell those. It's a great fundraising activity for the Booster Club over there, and maybe that money can go towards the rubberized track that they've talked about. So those are some of the things that we're doing. As soon as school's out, there's a little bit more abatement that has to go on in that high school. In the cafeteria and office area has not been abated yet. They will start by demoing the central building will go first, I believe. And they'll work inwards towards that area that's being abated. But within a few weeks of the kids being out of that building, demolition will begin. It's a really, really tight time schedule this summer, and they'll probably work double shifts on the demo to get it done.
Some of the stuff that can be used in our other buildings, like you said, teachers and administrators are going through this building here and figuring out what they can use. So all of it's not going to get salvaged and stuff. There are going to be a lot of pieces that we can use at other schools. Technology, whiteboards, those things. That stuff's going to be used at other buildings.
The bleachers in the high school gym, we're going to take a good section of those and move them to Schropp, and replace the ones at Schropp. The sound system in the gym, we're saving that. Good filing cabinets, we're keeping those because we always need filing cabinets somewhere.
Speaking of the gym, the mural that's in there now, I know you can't take that with you, but I wish we could get that same guy in here to do the gym again, because that's very impressive when you walk in there.
It is.
There's a spirit and pride there
It
that
is.
needs to follow us.
There's a guy that does that. When we built our new gym over at Mogator, they did it in the Commons area, and it was 3D, and we got donations for it, and it puts that special touch to a building or a gym, and yeah, there are guys out there that do that. I know one that's a teacher, and this is what he does in the summertime, and he's excellent. He does a great job. So
And I think when you see the new gym and the new building, it's going to be magnificent. It really is. And once again, kudos to this community and thank you to this community for passing that bond issue. The kids really deserve it. Carol?
Yeah, they are selling bricks, the academic foundation.
Right.
And we need to keep that in mind. And if they go to any school office, they can make applications for these things at this time.
Right.
And they will be available whenever they tear the old building down.
Right.
The one from the previous stuff that has been torn down in the front, they have those already right now.
Carol, that's one of the things, I need to talk with Mr. Rodriguez as to how many bricks we need yet from the central building and from the other building.
Yes.
So if you talk to George, tell him to give me a call, or you can give me a call or
Okay.
email me as to how many you want. Because that
Okay.
question came up recently and I forgot. But yeah, bricks will be for sale.
Because somebody may want something from the central building as opposed to the
Right.
new addition or what
Right.
have you, so it's special to them, so.
Probably age related, I'm sure.
You know, it's just a FYI, but I have two they're not really step stools, they're just stools that were made from the old bleachers that Gary Slick's special education class made. And, you know, those are kind of special because those were the bleachers that were there, I think, when I was there.
One of the questions that has been asked often is, are we going to do an auction? There's just not time to do an auction. With demo beginning, with having to be out of that building by June the 10th, there's just not time to do an auction. So we're going to try to salvage what we can and sell what we can that we think people want, because we've had some inquiries about those seats in the central gym.
I know when we presented the levy to the community and the community passed it, I don't think safety was the foremost concern at that time. It was, we needed a new building for educational purposes, but just in light of what's happened, I look at that new building and the safety features it provides, and it's worth its weight in gold.
The other neat safety feature that I happen to think of today is somebody asked me, are we going to have a resource officer at Spring Hill? Well, we won't need one at Spring Hill after this year, because 7 through 12 are all going to be in one building, and that building will already have a resource officer. So half of our student body will be in that building, and we'll have a resource officer there. So that should reassure parents as well.
Sadly enough, you can put your seatbelt on and you have airbags in a brand new car and still be in an accident, and it can be fatal. You just don't know. And you can be prepared, and that's all you can do.
Absolutely, and if you listened as to what went on last Friday, I think that school was prepared and they did all of the right things. And like Officer McKnight said in October, if you have somebody who is motivated and that is their goal to unfortunately kill people, that's what they're going to do.
That's right.
But all we can do is practice and be prepared.
Okay, I just have a couple more things. I wanted to say that I have loved being your president for the school board, Springfield Local School District, for this past year. It seems like it's flown by. I've loved serving the citizens and students and families of Springfield Local School District. And I'm grateful that was given the opportunity and that I work with such great people and such a great board. We have a very wonderful board. And on behalf of that board, I would like to say myself, Neil, Mary Lou, Bobby, and Dave, we wish you a safe and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we look forward to seeing you next year. And at this time, I'd like to call item number 21, adjournment. It is recommended that the meeting be adjourned at this time.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks for being